your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. We are live. We are thanking Zach Barris for joining us, NBA scout, talking about the NBA and talking about college basketball and all that jazz. But we're going to just go to it right now. I think it's time that we go live to the Bundy Ranch and talk with Blake the Eccentric Walley. I was with Blake out at the Bundy Ranch, about an hour 15 northeast of Las Vegas, off the 15 freeway last weekend. And he's there now. So let's get him on the horn.
Hello.
Blake, welcome to Agree to Disagree. You're live, sir. How you doing today?
Excellent, Brian. How are you?
You know, I'm living the dream. But you are out there. What we got us Pledge of Allegiance going on. We got more people starting to get out there. It's windy. I'm getting all these little updates from you through text message while I'm doing my sports show. But we got you on now. So this is the first radio show we've done since all of the coverage. Maybe just hit reset, give people some of the basics of what this story's about, if this is the first time they're catching wind of it. And then tell us about today.
Well, absolutely. But first, I wanted to say, how is the audio? Because I am out here on a cell phone, out in a field here. There's some live music, there's some wind. Just give me a quick audio. How's that going?
Yeah, it's a little windy. I don't know if there's a way to cover it with your shirt or hunker down or something. But yeah, we're getting it. It's a little windy. It's audible-ish.
All right, no problem. All right, let me try to find a quieter spot. Kind of. All right. Whoa. Hello. What's going on? All right. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They got a live barbecue out here, so there's a lot of people getting in line. They got some live music going on. Haven't seen Stuart Rhodes yet. So we're gonna see if we can get an interview with him. Maybe just get even 5-10 minutes. I'll keep be on the lookout for that.
And for the listeners that don't know who Stuart Rhodes is.
He is the founder of Oath Keepers, and he's been out here for maybe about a week or so, here to keep the peace. So, so hoping to run into him. He's always a very interesting guy, very smart guy. So,
and for the people, Blake, for the people that don't know who Oath Keepers are,
you got to check out oathkeepers.org. It's a group of people basically talking about the oath. They're pledging their oath to the Constitution, not following the Constitution, not following any unconstitutional orders. A lot of veterans and stuff. So, it's very. It's one of the really great organizations. People should go check out our last project when we spoke with RJ of the Nevada Oath Keepers. You can find that on Brian's website, TheNewAmericanMedia.com. Brian, what is the title on that one? Should be front and center.
Maybe Bundy Oathkeeper RJ talks at the Bundy Ranch or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. So, all right. Well, anyway.
Well, yeah, I was telling the audience before that we went out there last weekend, and we were there Thursday, we were there Friday, we got a bunch of interviews, and then Saturday's when all hell broke loose. Can you kind of just recap the event for people that haven't really followed this story all that closely?
Yeah, so it comes down to an issue where I guess you could say the federal bureaucracy, the Bureau of Land Management, was coming out in force against a local rancher here in Bunkerville, Nevada. It's over by Mesquite, about an hour and a half northeast of Las Vegas. And, it's going to be a dispute over whether he was paying his taxes or not, which is a confusing issue. It has to do with grazing fee and his cattle eating the grass on supposedly federal land. Now, he does not necessarily recognize the I got a ATV pulling up next to me with a loud motor here.
It's all good.
You hear that?
Nah, it sounded fine.
Oh, okay, excellent. No problem. It'll just be temporary. Anyway, so yeah, they were saying that he wasn't paying his taxes. They're trying to kick him off the land. But once we dug into the story, as it turns out, that money that they supposedly, these grazing fees, are going to a federal bureaucracy, which he does not necessarily recognize. His family's been out here since 1877, I believe. And so that's kind of one of the issues for people that are out there saying, oh, this guy's a moocher, he doesn't pay his taxes, and that's not true. He's offered to give his money to the county, Clark County here, and state, local stuff, as long as the money benefits the community around us. Instead, it goes to this unaccountable federal bureaucracy who's, arming to the teeth and bullying people. They're using that tax money to basically bribe off all the other ranchers in the area.
Because they've lost 52 of the 53 ranchers are gone now. He's the last one standing.
Yes, that is correct. So they're using that money to buy the rest of them off. So he's made his stand. He's been here for several generations of the Bundy ranchers here, and he wants to keep it and stay here on his land, of course, and not get a raw deal that they're offering to get him off the land.
But now legally, he's in the wrong. He's gone to court twice. He's lost.
Well, it all depends. It's a big federal versus a state issue, and yes, there are some issues with that, but there's some new developments in that as well, other ways that he can fight this. It's far from over, no matter what they say.
Now,
I would pull that up because there is an exclusive on the Ben Swan website with a special, I forget the name of the specific part of the law that they deal with, but they can go check that out for themselves. Or it's actually linked on the our big report that we made, a very comprehensive report. It is linked in there under the update section. People can check that out. So it's a little confusing for people, but there is a good reason for
that
all
would
of
be
it.
called prescriptive rights. Prescriptive rights.
Good job. You are correct, sir. So I guess if he's been out here long enough and using this land long enough, and they haven't done anything, then there could be a loophole in there. It's confusing. I'm certainly no legal expert, but there is this is far from over. So anyway.
Well, I mean, the one thing we do know,
yeah.
the one thing we do know is that this Bundy family is not dumping radioactive waste like Fukushima into the ocean and just destroying the lands around them. I mean, out in the American Southwest, they were detonating nuclear bombs all over the place. All over the place. BP,
right,
with their oil spills, they just had another recent one. They, of course, polluted the whole Gulf of Mexico, ruining all that fish and wildlife for how long, how many years to come. There are a lot of people that are making money and destroying, just raping and pillaging through the environment that they have, but that's not really the case here. This kind of centers around a turtle.
They tried to say it was, yeah, exactly. That these desert tortoises or this endangered species, and they're using that. They used that excuse a long time ago as their reason for trying to kick them off the land, and also pushing that out in the media recently, I guess, to get the public in their favor to say, oh, they're trying to just protect the tortoises, they're trying to protect the wildlife, and when it was all. It wasn't based in reality. It was just a cover story. It fell apart once people started digging into that. It turns out they're euthanizing a lot of these turtles, the BLM, and there's sanctuaries out here that are supposedly trying to save this endangered species. We got the tortoises all separated between the males and the females. I mean, it's a lot of bogus stuff. So we dug into it, trying to figure out what it was really about. There was rumors going on of whether it was water rights or fracking or minerals or something like that. But as it turns out, once they really dug into the story, they found out about this $5 billion deal they have, the solar energy project that Harry Reid and his son Rory Reid are working with the communist Chinese company ENN. So yeah, it just gets crazier and crazier. So that's basically where we're at now. Of course, Harry Reid, when asked to respond, has really only said this isn't over, and of course dropped a bombshell yesterday by calling the people that are supporting the Bundy family out here, the people that are gathering out here, is calling us domestic terrorists or extremists. Yes, actually domestic terrorists. And it's funny. I'll say this because there's people passing out name tags out here where I'm at the Bundy Ranch. That was one of the first things as I was walking down to the field. Somebody handed me a name tag, and they're already written on it. It says domestic terrorist. Everybody's wearing these domestic terrorist name tags. It's pretty funny.
Wow. Can you give me a picture of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a picture of that. But you know, I mean, honestly though, like that picture sent chills up my spine when I saw the militia member taking up position on the bridge overpass. That must have been was that the 15 or an ancillary road? But
I believe that was.
He was aiming at the BLM. We talked with another person who was on the ground on Saturday on Dan Johnson's Panda radio show. And this gentleman called it a Mexican standoff for about an hour with guns pointed at each other on both sides. All it took was one accidental discharge for this to be the end scene of Inglorious Bastards. It was.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, how this could have ended up? Yeah, they do. You'll see a lot of the liberal media. Yeah, is really running with that picture. Yeah, that militia guy with the gun out. And I can't verify a lot of people that had. I mean, there was definitely people. There was an armed presence here, but as far as I know, there weren't that many guns aimed on the BLM. They have that one picture that they're sending around, but I mean, really, it's been the federal government and their different outlets here have been the ones with the guns aiming it on the people. There have been snipers here from last week. They're the ones that have been causing a lot of damage, supposedly, maybe even shooting some of the cattle from helicopters, buzzing these cattle, basically running them, spooking them so bad they ran themselves to death, or actually shooting them. There's pictures of all of that. They tried to bury the animals with heavy construction equipment, like a backhoe digger. Yeah, people that really got to go check out our project. We have probably the most comprehensive report you can find anywhere out there on that, and we're keeping it updated almost every day. Yeah, right over there at the New American Media. So.
Yeah, and I want to say kudos. You've been doing a really good job keeping that current, adding new hyperlinks. Really connecting the dots of the timeline. We have, like I said, we have video with Margaret Houston, an interview where she was the woman that was thrown to the ground in the Ranch Riot video shot by Pete Santilli. We later spoke with Pete Santilli and interviewed him about what happened before he started shooting the video so we could try to get some of the backstory. Talked with son Dave Bundy, who was arrested and had his face smashed into the ground, talking about what this is really all about. And a lot of damage is being reported. This wasn't just going and getting bulls, and like Judge Napolitano, I've caught him a couple of times. He's been saying, there's a way to do this. You put a lien on the property, you do this, you do that. You don't need to do this, and you really don't have the right to go seize property and, run in there like the British Crown in the 1700s. This culture of intimidation. I've been seeing articles about that this is the heavy-handed way that the Barack Obama presidency handles problems in this country. I mean, can you speak to that a little bit, Blake?
I mean, assuming this whole story with the, I can't say specifically Obama, but definitely Harry Reid, especially if this is true, that they did work out a deal with the Chinese, the $5 billion project, and all they really needed to do was to get rid of all these ranchers off the land so that they could have it for themselves. And this one guy presented an obstacle, and so they swooped in and tried to bully him out. Once they couldn't bribe him, so they came in and tried to bully him out. But fortunately, as you just said, the aforementioned Pete Santilli was here on the ground. He did capture that infamous video. The Ranch Riot video. It's got well over 1 million views by now. Showing how the federal government, this BLM or whoever they're hiring, were the aggressors. And they were, the Bundy family was just asking simple questions about the well-being of their animals and what they were doing with the construction equipment. Were they, digging? Were they burying the evidence of the fact that these animals were being murdered, whether they were being run to death or whether they were being shot from helicopters or what have you? And they were asking, what have you done? Can we just go look on the well-being of the animals? Can we look inside that dump truck? Are you putting the bodies in there? Can we see? And then, of course, no, they would not just answer simple questions. They came and started tasering people. One of the sons, Ammon Bundy, was tased a few times. The aforementioned, we talked about Margaret Houston. Yeah, she was thrown to the ground in this altercation as well. So they've been the aggressors the whole time, no matter what some of the people in the media have said.
Well, and by the way, I've watched that video, that ranch riot, a few times, and maybe the first few times it looked like Ammon, went after one of these dogs. That is not the case. I've watched it a few times, and you clearly see the officer that brings the dog over. He pulls his arm back and makes a full sweeping arm gesture telling the dog to attack. And when the dog went at the guy kicked down with his foot to keep it from biting him. So, the aggression, these guys weren't throwing bottles at these police. They were standing in front of a truck. They had a problem, but the violence was all one-sided, picking up and throwing a woman to the ground, releasing the dogs, shooting with tasers. They had snipers on them the whole time. It just seems ridiculous. And then this report out of Fox News Insider just saying that family cattle were buried in mass grave. The BLM said that illegal structures such as water tanks and corrals on Bundy's Ranch had to be removed to restore the land to its natural state. William Lajeunesse reporting that the court order that justified the BLM operation appears to give the agency the authority to only seize and impound the cattle, and new footage shows that holes were cut in water tanks and fences were damaged. Unknown number of cows buried in a mass grave. They ran the cattle to death. They separated the calves from their mothers during calving season. It's just kind of crazy, and I don't know how much grass you have to eat to rack up $1 million charge, but I can go to Hometown Buffet for about $14. How many buffet meals do I have to eat to get to $1 million? I mean, to cut the grass of stuff that nobody's using, and you've had the rights to use for 140 years, and now everything starts increasing in fee. No. We'll weed you out. We'll keep raising your rates. It's like a credit card that had sneaky terms and they didn't tell you about. Nope, we want 18%. Nope, we want 25%. We want 40%. How about 42%? It's like, seriously? There's got to be something criminal in that. But the Bundys lost this in court twice. And then people say, well, there were Jim Crow laws in the 60s until people stood up and said, we're not having this. And then, of course, you're going to have some of these liberals say, you're not comparing that idiot rancher to Martin Luther King. No, I'm not saying that, but there is civil disobedience when laws have gone crazy. And we saw the militarized raid of the Gibson guitar factories a couple of years ago over some sort of illegal wood. I remember covering that back in the day. It just seems like more and more, that the government is just overreaching as much as they can, Blake, and there's got to be a line in the sand somewhere. And I don't know why this became the flashpoint, but I know that video certainly helped. I mean, what is the mood like on the ground there, the people that you're talking to? Does it feel more of a party? Are people on high alert? Is everybody armed? Like, what paint the picture of what it's like today.
I would say both. There's definitely more of a militia presence today, so I don't know if things are on high alert. Maybe there's things I'm not aware of, but I'm sure they're just here to keep the peace. As far as I can tell, everybody seems happy. This is like a time. This is like the party here. I guess you could say, because there's a lot of chairs set up. There's barbecue going on. I'm looking at big lines of people getting in line for some barbecue. I'll have to go check that out myself after the show here as well. But yeah, there's some live music going on, which I'm sure people can probably hear in the background. So no, everyone's pretty cool here. So no, it's been very good. A lot of nice people. We're just all out here trying to do our part and show support. So it's been good. It's been a good trip, even though it's been some really hellacious traffic getting here, which is a big reason why we were unable to find Stewart Rhodes here. I guess apparently he had to go pick up a friend at the airport, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh God, as soon as he's coming back, he's going to get nailed and that stuff. So hopefully he'll make it here soon. He's certainly a big presence here, doing a lot of great work. Sheriff Mack is not here. What they're going to do with the CSPOA, the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, is they're basically going to rotate. Same with Oath Keepers. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to keep. They want to keep a presence here for the Bundy Ranch because, yes, people are concerned about, like Ron Paul has said, they're concerned that once everybody leaves, there's going to be some, the government could come back in force, and then who knows what happens. And if there's not people here keeping the peace, or people with cameras and, getting a different narrative, then, who knows what might happen if anybody leaves. So, yeah, they're rotating different sheriffs. Supposedly, and we'll see if I can get that interview as well. Like I said, I'd like to get, Stewart is also another sheriff. His name is, I think it's just Sheriff Bill. I think he's from Indiana. If I can find him at some point soon, I will try to get an interview with him as well. But I don't remember where I was going. But
no, it's all right. It's all right. I'll jump in here. Yeah, definitely try to talk as many of those characters as you can. We'll add it to the report over at thenewamericanmedia.com that you've compiled. Reading this little story from the Westerner. It says the Bureau of Land Management has tried to contact Cliven Bundy ever since the federal agency released the rancher's cattle Saturday while facing a horde of protesters, but Bundy hasn't opened any of the written messages. His son Ammon Bundy said 4 certified letters from the BLM arrived at the ranch Tuesday. And so far, the 67-year-old Bunkerville resident has chosen not to open the envelopes. Kind of interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, after all the terrorizing that they've been doing to the people, I guess I in some way I don't blame them. I mean, he's just really a good guy. He's a quiet rancher, just wants to be left alone, and all of a sudden this aggressive militarized force coming in here to bully him around. I don't blame him for not wanting to deal with this heavy-handed tactics. So. I don't know what to make of that. That's news to me. I'll certainly, see what I can find out.
Yeah,
about that.
See if you can verify some, and that's what's going on here. A lot of it is we hear stories. The Harry Reid story, Blake. We hear, oh no, that's 200 miles away. These crazy conspiracists want to link Harry Reid to this solar thing, but that's 200 miles away. What do you say to that?
I don't know. There's controversy over that, on whether that's true or not. So we're trying to dig into that. Yeah, apparently there was So there's documents that were taken from the BLM website. There's some excellent coverage by Storm Clouds Gathering. That's also red linked on the website. People need to go check that one out. I think it's sdgnews.com where you can find that. Forget the title of the exact video. It should be easy to dig up. Or what people, I think it's called What People Need to Know, like Bundy Ranch, What People Need to Know, talking about that. Yeah, they found this connection from the BLM website itself with the Reids and Bundy, and then once this researcher, Storm Clouds Gathering, dug up the information, that's when they scrubbed it off the website. Apparently Breitbart has written a report about trying to debunk these claims, or saying that some of this land is a lot farther away. That person, I believe his name is Brandon Darby, has some kind of connections as an FBI informant, kind of a shady connection there. Not really sure what's going on. Of course, InfoWars refuting that information. So saying that this is the part of the land that they do want. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're very aggressively trying to push him up and trying to. The Reids have not really been forthcoming about all of this either. So, we're still waiting on this. I can't really pick sides. One of the other things I'm going to try to dig into while I'm here. And again, I think I also forgot to mention, the BLM, I mean, like I said, this Cliven Bundy, the Bundy family, will be more than happy to give a lot of their money, these grazing fees and such, as long as it was going to, benefit the community and not going to go benefit some federal bureaucracy that's going to, bully people like that. So anyway, they've been in the spotlight now.
What I'd like to ask, what I would like to ask the family, they keep saying that, right? They keep saying, well, we're willing to pay. Well, have they put it into an escrow fund? Have they already paid the money into an escrow fund to be cashed by the county of by Clark County when they're have they? Because I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering on this because they keep saying that. Well, that's as good as my buddy saying, "Well, I'm going to pay you back. I'm totally going to pay you that $100." Hold on, do you have it? I would totally pay you. Hold on, but do you have it? dude, I'll totally pay you that $1 million. Okay. You know,
I hear you. I know what you're saying, and I think a lot of that they've also said is a lot of interest. I mean, it's outrageous to think that that's $1 million worth of grass. I mean, what they feel like anything would be different if they hadn't been here. I mean, it's ridiculous, and I don't blame him per se for not recognizing this federal land grab. They have a ton of land. They have a ton of federal land out here. There's no reason to, they have to take. There's like more federal land here than any other state in the country, and they're going to be picking on these poor local ranchers here. So I'm not really sure. I highly doubt there's any kind of escrow account, but that's the word is that he's offered to, pay these reasonable fees to local and county where at least it benefits the community and not just go to some, unaccountable bureaucracy, like I said.
What percent of Nevada is owned by the feds?
Man, I almost offhand, I want to say it's like 80, 85, maybe more. I want to say almost 86. It seems a little bit high. I mean, it's a pretty large state. So I don't know. I'm going to offhand. I know there's maps out there. Information shouldn't be hard to find. People want to dig into that.
I mean, what in the world do they need all that land for? It's saying in this one on CNN.com in Nevada, sorry, I wasn't trying to do a gotcha question. I was just, before I had to type it in, I didn't know. It's saying on CNN that 87% of the land is owned by the federal government. What does the federal government need 87% of a state for? I don't really understand.
No, I don't either. That's not really the way. I don't think this country was ever founded to have that kind of federal land. I thought it was just the federal land was going to be like, D.C. or, maybe if they have a few protected areas, that's understandable. But, why would they need that? And then, why don't they have all this land already? Why do they have to have this specific spot as well? Why can't they leave the Bundys out of it? Why can't they leave these ranchers alone when they have all this other land to work with?
Yeah, it seems really weird that he was targeted. I just want to read a few comments here out of CNN. They took a moment away from the missing plane to talk about this story. It says, the concept of public lands can be a foreign one to an East Coast dweller, as people own or rent their plot of space in urban, suburban, and commuter towns that crowd the eastern seaboard. But out west, public lands are a big deal. Almost everyone uses them or depends on them. They are key to people's recreational hiking, fishing, hunting, and skiing. They are critical to people's livelihood as they are used to cut timber, drill oil, mine coal, and ranch cattle. Vast swaths of the land in the West are predominantly public. In Nevada, for example, 87% of the state is owned by the federal government, and the BLM oversees 245 million acres of public lands, mostly west of the Mississippi River, not including the lands overseen by the National Forest Service and half a dozen other federal agencies. But it continues, the question, how did Bundy ever get use of the federal lands? In Nevada, it says, ranchers depend on the federal lands for their livelihood. The government began allowing the use of land in 1877 to promote the economic development of dry, difficult-to-cultivate desert areas, so it offered land for dirt cheap. Bundy says his family has owned the ranch since about the time the Desert Land Act passed. And a version of the law still exists today that allows ranchers to graze their cattle on public lands for a nominal rate. The fee is cheaper than what the rancher would pay the state or a private landowner, but the trade-off is that the rancher has to share the land with the public. So, I mean, this is essentially like a homeowners association hiring a management company to just take care of the grounds. And you almost literally have the management company going to war with one of the residents.
Well, okay, yeah. Let me comment on that because I think it's a good example. Now, the HOA, I pay an HOA, but at least they're mowing the grounds. They're doing stuff. I see where my money is going. I like to have the nice little park kept up and everything. So, but I mean, with this, they're paying the BLM. It's not going there. That's one of those false things I keep seeing around that drives me crazy. People that call him a moocher and stuff. So it just depends. It'd be great if it benefited the taxpayers and went to something that helped everybody, but it doesn't. It goes to this bureaucracy. Now, where does that money go? Who's taking that $1 million? That's what I want to know is, assuming even if they did pay him the $1 million, where does that money actually go to? Whose pockets does that go into? I will guarantee you that does not benefit the community in any way.
Well, let me ask you about
So I'd be like
this.
giving my money to the HOA to, fund some operations to some, people that are, going to try to, bully me to move out of my house. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems a
Or
little
lining
bit.
their pockets and they're like letting everything go to waste. Yeah, it's not fair.
Well, let me speak to this for just a second.
Sure.
Do you think that this plays in a little bit to what's going on? We see a lot of movements in food. There's now fights over water rights. Can you even collect water off your off of your gutters and your roof into rain barrels?
Right.
People are getting fined for planting gardens in their front yard. Monsanto and some of these big farm, not big pharma, but big farm corporations, they're genetically modifying food so they can spray their own blend of pesticide on it, but they've modified the food to the point where it rots the stomach linings of these insects, and then we eat that food that rots the stomach lining of insects, and you go, well, wait a minute, what's that doing to our stomach linings? I don't want that. I want food, not fake food, not frankenfood. And, this is a rancher that has, grass-fed beef. That's a tough thing to get, and
Right.
we've seen that beef prices are up, 18%? That was last week. It might even be higher at this point. But you see the Delta smelt in California has shut off the water, to protect some stupid little fish. They're ruining the lives of these families that are not doing anything wrong here. You want to multiply the Delta smelt and take it to UCLA, take it to Cal Berkeley, take it to some of these other colleges, find a habitat, repopulate, find a way to make it work. But it just doesn't make sense why, for a spotted owl, you're shutting down an entire logging industry. For the Delta smelt, you're cutting off access to all these farmers with the water that they need to grow the food for us to eat. I guess what I'm asking, Blake, do you think that this could partially be yet another move in the game of chess to get the public more dependent on the feds and big corporate farming interests as opposed to local meat, local ranchers, know where your food is grown, grow it local, keep it local? Do you think some of that plays in line here with the green initiatives and the Agenda 21 and just trying to pack us into these little communities, and we're completely dependent on Big Brother to, yes, sir, may I have some more porridge, sir? Yes, please, mister, may I have some more porridge? Please give me, as opposed to, I'm going to grow and I'm going to plant and I'm going to take care of me, that rugged individualist in the West. Can you speak to all of those issues? I just gave you, the shotgun out the back door approach, as John B. Wells would say.
Right.
But pick it up wherever you will with the farm and the food aspect with the big corporate interests. Take it wherever you want, buddy.
Yeah, that does appear to be the case. You're seeing. This country was founded on the small American farmers, self-sufficient, and now you're seeing the big move to big agri. You're seeing where these local farmers now can't even compete with the big players, and you're seeing these people being put off their land for whatever number of reasons, and there's all the regulations, all this government interference, and what have you, and you're putting the big corporate farms in there. You're putting in the Monsanto. You're hurting that. You're pushing people into the cities. And they want to control over everything. They were taxing and fining people, and for people that try to save their water when it rains. I mean, it's totally nuts. But people growing gardens, there's all kinds of stuff going on like that. Or they're shaking down the Amish for selling food on this side of the highway or whatever. They basically just want to control and regulate everything. And we're making a stand here in Nevada. And hopefully it's bringing a lot of attention to that so people can start to figure this out and go, what's going on here? You're seeing the Monsanto thing. I heard Russia and France have banned GMOs. So hopefully we'll see that carry over into the States. And we need to get back to that small business structure, that small, sufficient family farmer, that quality food. So and get all this government interference out of it. So I don't even know where else to go with that. I don't want to get into some Agenda 21 thing, but I don't know how else to say it. I mean, that does appear to be the case. So people should go research into that, Agenda 21 or Behind the Green Mask, the excellent book by Rosa Corey, Koire. Democrat. Find the website Democrats Against Agenda 21. Sorry, Democrats Against Agenda 21. Yeah, people need to go research that and see what is going on. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I want you to expand on Agenda 21 for just a little bit, because there's a video that I watched, and I embedded it is the featured video at thenewamericanmedia.com, and it's one of the friends of Clive and Bundy talking, I believe city council or one of these local elected boards, and he just kind of says, this is a lot bigger than Clive and Bundy. This is about a lot more than Clive and Bundy. Can you give us a little bit more of an overview as to Agenda 21? Because with the right frame of reference, you kind of get a little bit more of an understanding of why people are gravitating toward this as a line in the sand, because we the people are now being treated like cattle, literally being herded 3 miles away from the scene of the crime here and being put in a free speech zone that is laughable if it wasn't so impeachable, if it wasn't so criminal based on the Bill of Rights. Like, oh, here's your free speech zone. Yeah, I got 2 fingers for your free speech zone too. But the agenda, we've all been feeling like we're being herded like cattle. We're being pushed in certain directions. What's the guy that wrote the book Nudge in the Obama White House? The Cass Sunstein. It's all about regulations and starting to build the fences a little closer, a little closer, a little closer, a little closer with humans till we're like cattle. And I think Agenda 21 is a pretty big part of it. Can you just expand on it a little bit to put this whole feds pushing against ranching families like Clive and Bundy thing into just a little bit of a different perspective?
Boy, I'm not the expert on Agenda 21. I encourage people to go check some of that stuff out for themselves. But it really, in a nutshell, is just the government regulating everything you can do. Where you can live. What kind of, whether you can have a garden on your land, and regulations and get a permit, and it's control, all under the guise of, doing this self-sufficiency, or what do they call it? Smart growth, and all kind of got little fancy names for it, but it's really all about control and regulation, and it's not good under the guise of something that sounds good in theory, but not so much. And yes, the corporations controlling everything, and no more little self-sufficient people anymore. Won't be a little guy growing your garden. It'll be, having a permit. Can you do this? Maybe you make sure you ask the government permission to do anything you want. So, or maybe even have how many kids you can have. I mean, it's pretty disturbing stuff.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be necessarily the guy to go into more into extreme detail like that, but I definitely encourage people to go check that out. Like I said, that Rosa Corey pretty much made a great book. She's an excellent speaker. You can find a lot of her work, or go to Democrats Against Agenda 21 and her website. So check that out. Her book's called Behind the Green Mask.
No, I've heard her as a guest on Coast to Coast before. I did think it was great. I got a quick question before I want to get you to maybe talk about the event the Panda's putting on here, because I know you're helping Dan Johnson out with that. You recorded a commercial and whatnot. But I want to ask you about the militia component. Harry Reid comes out and calls these people domestic terrorists, and I guess hearing you say that they're handing out name tags that say domestic terrorist. You gotta do me a favor. Make sure you snap a picture of that. We have to use it. But I mean, what is the role of the militia? Why was it set up that way? I mean, at what point? Because for some reason, all these people on the left, they want to see this as a left-right issue. Maybe it's just because they're guys and the president right now. But if George Bush was doing this to a Democratic rancher, I bet you they'd have a different opinion of things right now. I don't know. I just find it absolutely ridiculous. Can you talk about that scene that was what I think is the photo of the year? Just that close-up of that man on the overpass with his gun, just ready, just waiting, just ready to defend these people if something bad were to start. He didn't pull triggers, he didn't do anything, but he was protecting these people. So I mean, can you just talk about the role to the militia in general, and how you would respond to some of those on the left that would call them domestic terrorists and call for their arrest, and you just say this is such a blatant, clear-cut a cut and dry example of domestic terrorism? Because this is how we work the NDAA into the conversation next.
Right. Well, yeah, the militias are here basically because the sheriff and the local government, the governor, National Guard, they're not allowing them to, defend the Bundy family here in this ranch, and so they're just there to keep the peace, really, because if we had, hypothetically, if there was a constitutional sheriff like back in the day, or the local government could say, hey, we don't want these feds intruding and bullying around our people here, get out of here. But that hasn't been the case. So basically, we've had the militia come in instead to do that job for them. So there hasn't been any aggression or anything like that. Nobody wants any violence here. We just don't want to see this poor family getting run over and bullied by a militarized force here. But I mean, it should be the sheriff that comes in and says, nope, you guys are out of here. You guys have no business. You guys no jurisdiction here. Leave that family alone. And if that doesn't work, you think hopefully the governor would, call in his, the local National Guard and say, hey, now you guys can go against the feds, because the feds really don't have a business here as far as, we're concerned, or a lot of people here are concerned. So that's what the militia has done, is to come in and keep the peace.
Well, when you hear the phrase domestic terrorists and you see Harry Reid running his mouth like this, he's not looking good across the board here. Any way you slice it, and he's one of the most corrupt politicians out there. Harry Reid. Either way, when you hear...
It's amazing people are even standing up for him. It's amazing. That'd be about as ridiculous as, people standing up for John McCain or something. I don't get it. Why do people automatically assume Harry Reid is in the right when he's notorious for being corrupt? I mean, everybody knows that, and yet there's people jumping to his defense, even though he hasn't really come out and said anything or defended himself. Or, people here, we just want to have a chat. We want to talk. We want to have a debate. Nobody's looking for violence, but that's not the way the BLM has been handling the situation. Certainly, Harry Reid has not handled the situation, and certainly his rhetoric yesterday didn't help anything. So, I don't know. And yeah, NDAA, that's the other thing that when we're talking about domestic terrorists, it's about the government is putting this clause now in the NDAA Act, that's Section 1021, 1022, basically they can, label people as domestic terrorists. Or of course, PANDA is out against that, the people against NDAA. So basically, they don't want the government to basically label whoever they want or anybody that disagrees with them as a domestic terrorist, and they can take away your Fourth Amendment. They can take away, a lot of things. They can throw you in a cage and say you don't get a lawyer, and we don't have to, this whole, under this guise of this whole war on terrorism. It sets a pretty scary precedent. So yeah, I have been we're talking with Dan. Dan is a very important. Tomorrow is his money bomb. People need to go check that out, see if you can support it. They're doing a tour. It's called Take Back Tour, and that's actually the name of the website as well. It's takebacktour.com. They're going to have over 30 artists and speakers. I know Saving Abel is going to be there. Jordan Page is going to be there. Luke Rudowski is going to be one of the speakers, and a lot more. So people need to go check that out. And so, we can fight against this unconstitutional NDAA and the government labeling whoever they want as domestic terrorists. And, it's a scary precedent. We don't need these aristocratic oligarchs like Harry Reid, who, run all these corrupt deals. They've been in Washington way too long. They're completely out of touch. They're just, totally greedy. And they're involved in all kinds of shenanigans, including this. They're working. He's put his BLM, one of his former advisors or chief of staff or something, that he's basically put as the head of the BLM, and then they just basically work out these crooked land grabs. And he's got his lawyer's son, Rory, working out all these legalese and terrorizing all the people that they want and taking their land, and it needs to stop. This is not the way this country was founded, and we need to start to change the course before it's too late. I mean, for every Cliven Bundy, there's probably 100 people you've never heard of that are getting bullied off their land, and nobody's standing up for them, and they have no voice out there. So hopefully this will bring more attention on that, and more people will start standing up around the country, and we need to be there to support them when that does happen.
Well, part of what we're doing here is, we're trying to give enough perspective on this, and one of the lines I'm reading here with talking about the mass grave for the cattle at the Bundy Ranch, it's saying that the federal occupation of so-called public lands has served as a tremendous show of force and illustrated a deteriorating relationship that exists between the federal government and the people. And I think that statement is pretty accurate across the board. It's a deteriorating relationship between the federal government and the people. You have the IRS. Don't even call it a scandal. It's just blatant criminal activity targeting your political enemies. There's very few things that are more frightening than getting a call from the IRS. Oh, and who's enforcing Obamacare? The IRS. So it's just across the board. People do not trust this federal government, which is why the Founding Fathers put a 10th Amendment into the Constitution, saying the powers not specifically delegated to the federal government shall be reserved for the states. It was supposed to be the states making most of the decisions. Something's really screwy in this country, and I think we all know it. And that's why I think it's really important that we all participate as much as we can. You and I couldn't be there on Saturday morning when the protest, when the, I don't know, what do you call it, the protesters, the crowd?
It was like a big march that went down to get the cattle back from the BLM. Yeah, allegedly it was going to go down around like 12 to 1 or something like that in the afternoon. But then ended up Sheriff Gillespie here in Vegas made a speech at like 8:30 in the morning or something like that, or 8:30. It all happened pretty early. And then, so it all went down. We never would have been able to get there on time. So the news doesn't wait for anybody. Unfortunately, we missed that because it was a pretty incredible moment. People need to go check out. It was even being like censored off Facebook. I had troubles even posting it on our board at first until there was a big public backlash. So,
and that's the thing you got to be careful of with all this technology. You got to realize that those in power can also cut off your power. You could have your media site shut down one time if they don't like what you're saying, which is why the First Amendment is not a zone 3 miles away. It's everywhere. It's a way to keep people honest. It's a way to keep integrity. It's a way to keep flashlights shining so the cockroaches don't come back out. But a key component to what I'm saying here is you've been compiling what I will say is the most comprehensive one-stop shop if you want to get caught up to speed on all the nuances of this Bundy Ranch revolt. It's over at thenewamericanmedia.com. It's the featured headlined page, and I just noticed here on my Facebook feed that Governor Jesse Ventura interviewed Cliven Bundy on his Off the Grid show. And that was today, and it looks like it's online, so I can check that out. And the way that this works is we all carry a bucket of water. And if we all just carry one bucket of water, we can empty a swimming pool together. So, I mean, kudos to the work from Pete Santilli before you and I got there. Kudos to, what was that guy's name from InfoWars that put together that piece?
Oh, David Knight did an absolutely superb job. So
Unreal.
Just really nailed it.
Yeah.
Amazing footage that he got, also confronting one of the old propaganda ministers over at the I think it's at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Station, when they started asking about the Harry Reid connection and the solar, when that bombshell hit the wire.
I think he should get some sort of a journalism award, some sort of Emmy, something. Whatever he can win, I think he should get one for that piece, for being right there in the battle lines, being right down in front, like hearing that conversation between the ranchers and the guy on the other side of the fence. He's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. He's like, this is what we're going to do, and you have an hour. And like brokering the deal. Did you ever see the work from Dennis Michael Lynch? Have you caught that, Blake? Dennis Michael Lynch? He was the guy when you and I were on Panda Radio. He's the one that went down there. He went in front of the cowboys on their horses, and he approached on his own. He said, "Can I approach?" And then on the bullhorn, they're like, "Stand down, we have orders, blah, 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 we will shoot." And he's like, "One question, are you going to shoot these people if they walk forward? One question, are you going to you're going to have to shoot me too. Are you going to shoot these people if they come forward?" He did a lot of good work. I saw him on Megyn Kelly the other night, and it's like when we were on Panda Radio, the guy that was on the ground told us a different story or pieces of it. And this Dennis Michael Lynch told us pieces of it. Pete Santilli told us pieces of it. Jesse Ventura's asking questions. Sean Hannity's asking questions. You and I are asking questions. The guy from InfoWars again, what's his name?
David Knight.
David Knight, okay.
David Knight.
He's asking questions and getting footage. And that's the point. What the new media has to do, the new American media, what we have to do, is just keep pushing. I saw a great video from Stefan Molyneux. I don't know if you've added that one onto our page yet or not, but it's fantastic.
I do have one with him where he's speaking to Dan Dix of Press for Truth. It is on the website. It is in that link, so that's the one we're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Please check out our comprehensive report. Blake has put this thing together.
It is, yeah. It is, we're not exaggerating here. I don't think there is anywhere, nobody has that extensive, that thorough of the Bundy Ranch coverage all in one spot, I think, as we have on your site, the New American Media.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, kudos to you for that work. I'm excited to check out Jesse Ventura's work and hear his interview with him. This story keeps going, and you're there right now. I mean, what final words do you have for us live at the Bundy Ranch as you are, Blake? What's the takeaway from this? Because I'll say this: when I was there on Thursday and Friday last week, right before it hit the fan on Saturday, I mean, these people were gracious. They were kind. There was food and drinks everywhere, and these were decent people. Like I said, they're not dumping toxic waste into the bay. They're not out there doing crazy stuff. They've been living for 130, 140 years, just doing what they're doing. And it's like you turn the screws and raise the prices, and kick them out. It's like, why are you doing that? Something is inherently wrong with that. When the feds own 87% of the state of Nevada, there's something wrong with that. Why do you have helicopters? Why do you have snipers? Why do you have attack dogs and tasers and assault rifles? Like, what in the hell is going on? So, I mean, I found these people to be very hospitable, very friendly, very nice. I mean, what's the takeaway as you're there signing off for today's report?
Well, it's really awesome. It's a good vibe here. Like I said, there's a lot of people here now. As I keep looking, this crowd just keeps growing and growing.
How big would you say, Blake? How many people?
I want to say I want to say about 1,000, but it could be more. I don't know. Maybe not good with the numbers. I'll see if I can get I'll probably pull up the camcorder and pan around so I can get everybody in this picture here before it gets dark. But yeah, a lot of people, barbecue, a lot of chairs, just kind of hanging out, and like I said, there's some live music, there's all kinds of stuff, a couple little tents, booths, I don't know if they're selling some t-shirts or something. So anyway, yeah, just a lot of people, a lot of kids running around, just everybody's just hanging out and having a good time. So glad to be here.
So, I mean, would you say that they're hanging out, having a good time, trying to keep their force up so that the feds don't come back? Do you think that's what's going on? Because there's a concern that, the next wave that the federal government, tucked away and ran with tail between their legs. They didn't want to be on camera, shooting people and women and kids and stuff. Do you get the sense from people that this is more of a militarized zone, like, I don't know, like being on Fort Hood or stationed in Iraq or Afghanistan or Vietnam or something? Or, because it really shouldn't be jovial. It shouldn't be a fun experience. It sucks that anyone has to be there. What kind of vibe do you get from people? Is it tense? Is it,
No, nothing like that. Right now it seems pretty laid back. I mean, there obviously are maybe a few more militia people that look a little bit more serious, that are more concerned. But I think the general presence here and the people here they're not. It's everyone's friendly, having a good time. So it seems it's cool, and I'm glad to be a part of this.
Well, listen, stay safe. Defend yourself if need be. Just make sure you keep yourself safe. That's the number one thing that we're looking for. Because at the turn of a dime, things could get really bad real quick. So hopefully everything stays de-escalated, despite the fact that Harry Reid tries to keep throwing blood into the pool of piranhas. And send us some pictures. Try to grab some interviews if you can. Whoever, if you can find some people, get some information. Seriously, feel free to just turn your camera on, hold it in one hand, and hold your microphone in the other, and just do a man on the street. Ask people why they showed up or something. Anything you feel like doing. I mean, we'll cover it because you're there. There's a lot of people that wish they could have been there, and that they sent their support. They were really happy that we were able to go out last week. And, I am going to lean on you a little heavily for this because it is your backyard. It's still maybe 2 hours away, but it's a little different than 7-8 hours away with me in traffic. So, keep doing the good work, and, we'll keep updating that site. Really, it is one of the most comprehensive Bundy Ranch riot pages of information. Just so many great links of other information. Don't just listen to us. Click around, get a well-understood version of this story because it is very complicated and nuanced. And I just don't see why you're going to go after Americans when there are millions of people flooding our borders illegally every year, when we're involved in countless foreign conflicts, when Detroit's going bankrupt. All the problems we have, why are we going after a successful cattle rancher? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. There's got to be some sort of resolution they should make. And it just seems like I'm living in an upside-down world. So, Blake, thank you for covering it today. Like I said, get those pictures, get it back to us. Any report you get, we'll put it on the newamericanmedia.com. Any final words for everybody?
No. Just stay tuned. And like I said, we'll have that resource available, and hopefully we'll get some new material that we can put on there soon. I'll see what I can do tonight. Other than that, no. It looks like so far I'm just going to try to get some barbecue and enjoy myself and see if I can snag a few interviews, and that's really all I have.
All right.
But if anybody else is out there that wants to come show your support. You know what it is now. So there's always going to be fresh people. Looks like they're rotating in, like I said, with the constitutional sheriffs or the oath keepers. Kind of because we can't. All of us. A lot of us have day jobs and stuff like that. We can't just be here out all the time. We're not. The government, which can, they're paid on our taxpayer dime to do whatever they want and have the unlimited resources. We don't, so people always rotate in and out and keep a presence here until things back off, hopefully, and we can get a resolution on this.
Well, obviously, we're going to keep posting your footage, different links and stuff you come up with, because you're really going to stay on this. We'll keep them at thenewamericanmedia.com. But as we wrap things up here, why don't you tell people about the radio show that you do, how they can definitely sign up and stay linked up with you on Twitter, because you need to live tweet some of this stuff as well. Keep hashtagging Bundy Ranch. Tag American_media_ please, so I can retweet some of that stuff as well, send some pictures out. Make sure that you're doing that, because we'll multiply the message. And just talk to people about what you're doing personally with all of your stuff, and how they can stay connected with you outside of this report, Blake.
Great. Thank you, Brian. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show today. Yes, my name is Blake Walley, Blake the Eccentric. You can follow me. My home page is eccentricperspective.com. I do have a radio show on Freedomizer Radio, which you can. My show is called The Eccentric Perspective. I am on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 12 to 1:30 Pacific. You can check out you can get the podcast, subscribe to that by going to iTunes, searching for Eccentric Perspective or Blog Talk Radio. But I think there should be an archive set up on Freedomizer Radio as well. So please follow me. I'm active on Twitter a bit. My name is Eccentric99. And, I've always got some a lot of good news stories there. So, check it out. Follow me there. Yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Blake. Like I said, you stay safe first and foremost. Don't let your guard down. It is still I know it's more of a party there now, but any second. Just be aware, okay? You stay safe out there.
I'll keep the camera handy. Hopefully they don't become the new Michael Hastings or anything on the way out of here. So gonna throw that out there just in case.
Or an
if
Andrew
anything happens. It was definitely some foul play perhaps, but hopefully everything just stays cool. Everything's cool right now, and I don't think the feds they're really not on a good moral ground right now after all the backlash. So it would be very difficult. I think it would be a really big challenge to do anything. But like I said, it's important to keep a presence, just to keep that peace. So yeah, the minute all the guns and cameras are gone, you never know what the government could conceivably do. I don't want to think that, but conceivably what they could do and what kind of story they could put out. So definitely, it's so important for the independent media to be out here and to capture this stuff. So
absolutely,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Michael Hastings or Andrew Breitbart. Natural causes, of course.
Right.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
And his coroner, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and his coroner died too, of natural causes as well. But of course, when Osama bin Laden dies of natural causes, we don't get to see him. Interesting. No, it's fun. I love how we get selective information, but we're supposed to trust the BLM and Big Brother. I'm good. Nah.
And Harry Reid. Yes.
And Harry Greed with a G-R.
Right.
Well, anyway, Blake, thanks for joining us. Send those tweets, tag us so we can see all of your pictures, see the name tag saying that you're a domestic terrorist. Show some barbecue. Remember we took that picture. Said I gotta put on Twitter that I'm eating a hot dog at the Bundy Ranch. I mean, you were laughing at me, but just document the experience. I mean, show that there are good people out here, and just trying to stand up for what's right. Because if the Bundys are wrong here, I think there's a better way to handle this than paramilitary troops. That much is certain to me. Nobody's going to convince me that was the only option that was available. So I'm going to leave everybody with this. This is going to be a video of this is a Moapa Valley Town Board meeting. This was from about a week, just a little over a week ago on the 9th. And this is a message from a concerned friend of Clive and Bundy. I'm going to play this video for you. It's embedded over at thenewamericanmedia.com on our homepage as our featured video in the top right. But please check this video out. Send it to your friends. Check out the most comprehensive Bundy Ranch coverage you're going to find anywhere in one place over at thenewamericanmedia.com. Blake Walley did a really good job editing some videos and putting together the story, the timeline of Thursday and Friday, our experience, he and I, going out and getting the interviews that we got, and then what happened once we left and what the lead up to it was. I mean, it's all relevant information. I think we really explain the situation as best as you're going to find anywhere in a one-stop shop. So please check that out, thenewamericanmedia.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Make sure you go over there and follow us on Twitter. Absolutely. Go on Facebook. Search The New American Media with spaces in between and like the page. And something everything in the past couple weeks has been blowing up, but definitely on YouTube we've had so many subscriptions driven by this over the past couple of weeks. But between the Flight 370 and then this Bundy Ranch, we've had so many subscriptions. Make sure you're linked up with us over there, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. My name's Brian Engelman, signing out here from Agree to Disagree here on the TNAM radio network at thenewamericanmedia.com. Special thanks to NBA guest Zach Barris. Make sure you follow him at ZBarris on Twitter. That's ZBARIS. And special thanks to Blake the Eccentric Walley. Follow him on Twitter. He's at Eccentric99. So here it is, folks. This is bigger than Clive and Bundy, a concerned friend at the town board meeting. Thank you so much for listening.
Look at you guys, not them. You guys want to talk to. Okay, these guys got to do the job, whatever the hell they did. This Bundy deal is
Gets
not
more
a
clear.
hell of a lot further than some guy not paying a range or a BLM permit. Okay, he's got his story. I don't know how many of you have heard it, and it's legitimate as hell. Okay, the bottom line is these BLM boys or the feds, I don't know who the heck they are. Okay, they decided that they have the authority to shut down 600,000 acres of public ground, which affects all of you one way or the other. Okay, so what? No big deal, all right? Because who really cares, right? And then they got the authority to hire a bunch of contract cowboys to go out there and gather a bunch of wild cows during calving season, okay? Right now, there's a hell of a lot of doggy calves out there. Little ones, day old, week old, okay? You know what? The mamas ain't with them no more. They didn't even bother to pair them up. They probably ain't smart enough to pair them up. Probably ain't even got a clue what the hell we're talking about, okay? And so you imagine what the hell's happening to those doggy calves out there right now, okay? We give a damn about these turtles. We give a damn about these mustangs. Did God not create the cow? Has it got some less right than any of these other animals? Okay? And this is where it really gets rough, okay? This is where it goes way the hell beyond Clive Bundy. They can throw an army of men around there, literally, with sniper rifles, on guys just like you are, on people just like you are, men, women, children, just like you are, okay? Out there who believe they have a right to be there. Okay, maybe you believe in some other place that you believe you could be there. And someday, they're going to throw that army of men around you.
Amen.
And then, these guys somehow they feel like they got the right, they can drop a damn tripod in the ground and set a sniper rifle on it. So if you cross a line, they can put a bullet in you.
Not in our country.
Who the hell is the man behind that trigger? I want to know. I want to know the BLM. Who in the hell? Which one of you guys gives that guy the authority to throw that rifle down? And when he does, which one of us is he going to shoot? Good God, didn't he grow up in this country? Are we going to give it up? Okay, this is a hell of a lot bigger than Clive Bundy. All right? They get done here, they're setting a precedence, you guys. A precedence. They get done here, they're going up there to Iron County where the Mustangs are, right? We got to save the Mustangs and clean them ranchers off. And then they're going to go over there to central Utah where the sage grouse and the Indian paintbrush is being threatened and clean them cattlemen off. And I can promise you when they get done with it, they're going to take your damn water. They're going to tell you when you can water your fields, what you can plant, and where you can sell it. And you can bet your ass that's where this is going. This is bigger than Clive Bundy. And when Clive decides to go back in there after his cows, and they've got orders to shoot anybody that goes in there, I'm going to be with him.
Carrying a gun, I hope.
No. Because them son of a bitches will fire the next shot heard around the world. And we will fire the rest. Okay?
Your guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.